Welcome to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, where we break down how global shifts impact our automotive world. Canada and the US, once tightly linked by steel, aluminum, and energy, now face an economic standoff. Trump's sudden 50% tariff hike rattled industries, while Ontario's electricity surcharge threatens to flip the switch on US power supplies. Prime Minister Mark Carney is steering Canada's response with decisive actions, halting exports, accelerating major projects, and finding new trade paths. This unfolding story promises to reshape how North America's powerhouse industries and interconnected economies navigate these turbulent waters. Let's start by looking at how it all began. Sparks ignite, from metal wars to power plays. In June 2025, President Trump sent shockwaves through global markets by hiking steel and aluminum tariffs to 50%, up from 25%, without sparing Canada. This move hammered Canada's integrated manufacturing sector. Mills slowed, export revenues nosedived, and anxiety spread across auto, construction, and aerospace supply chains that span the border. Ontario Premier Doug Ford didn't hold back. Declaring all options are on the table, he threatened to cut off electricity exports to northern U.S. states, vital lifelines for regions like Michigan and New York. Ontario then slapped a 25% surcharge on power exports, netting around $250,000 to $300,000 US daily, both as a domestic relief fund and a warning shot to Washington. The message wasn't just noise. U.S. grid operators warned of potential blackouts and soaring energy costs. Diplomacy soon followed. A high-stakes talk between Ford and U.S. Trade Secretary Lutnick led to a temporary pause in the surcharge, showing just how quickly energy threats can spark negotiations. What started as a metals dispute has transformed into an electrified showdown, where Canada is making it clear, push us too far, and we'll flip the switch. With tensions mounting, Canada knew it needed a broader, strategic response. Ottawa's pivot, Carney's power play for resilience. Prime Minister Mark Carney sees that Canada can't keep relying on a shaky southern neighbor. With 75% of exports heading to the US, Trump's tariffs have exposed a risky overdependence. In response, Carney launched a full pivot: diversify, decentralize, and build Canada's resilience. In early June, Carney and provincial leaders rolled out a nation-building agenda, fast-tracking infrastructure like pipelines, ports, trade corridors, green energy, and digital projects. The $5 billion Canadian Trade Diversification Corridor Fund is key to opening new routes to Europe, Asia, and emerging markets. But it's not just trade. Carney's also bolstering security and digital independence, deploying Arctic radar with Australia, expanding the military footprint with $420 million Canadian dollars, and reconsidering the F-35 buy in favor of European alternatives. Digitally, Canada's mandating local data storage and expanding cloud capacity, aligned with EU-style rules to protect Canadian data from foreign meddling. Talks with Washington continue behind closed doors, but Carney's actions signal a bigger shift. Canada is done banking on U.S. goodwill and is forging a new path forward. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. This helps us reach more auto enthusiasts just like you. Now let's shift gears and steer towards how this pivot affects Canada's manufacturing backbone. Supply chain shock. Factories and workers brace for impact. Canada and the US share one of the world's most integrated manufacturing systems. Some cars cross the border 7 or 8 times before final assembly. Trump's 50% tariffs disrupted this finely tuned machine, hitting Canadian steel and aluminum producers the hardest. The United Steelworkers Union called it a direct attack on Canadian jobs and urged Ottawa to prioritize domestic material in public projects. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce supported measured counter-tariffs, but warned against harming essential components for Canadian industries. Small and mid-sized firms, from aerospace to packaging, are feeling the squeeze, either renegotiating deals or eyeing new markets in Europe and Asia. Pharma and food processors are also exploring costly diversification. Ontario quickly escalated, Beyond electricity surcharges, Premier Ford banned U.S. firms from government contracts and removed American liquor from LCBO shelves. Ottawa added 30 billion Canadian dollars in targeted tariffs. Workers face real worries. Layoff risks loom, and labor groups want green subsidies, expanded EI, and Canadian-made mandates in public works. But if trade and manufacturing are critical, energy is becoming Canada's unexpected ace in the hole. Energy as a power lever. Canada's electric retaliation. Energy, often in the background, has become Canada's most potent retaliation tool. Ontario's 25% surcharge on electricity exports, about $7 per megawatt hour, hits a critical lifeline for northern U.S. states, which rely on Canadian power for around 1.5 million homes. This move siphons off $250,000 to $300,000 daily to Ontario, while shocking U.S. ratepayers. The impact was swift. U.S. grid operators warned of price spikes and reliability issues, while state officials questioned Canada's leverage. Public outcry mirrored concerns from Europe's Nord Stream crisis. Ontario's temporary suspension of the surcharge during high-level talks showed how energy threats can spark quick diplomacy. But Ford has warned the plug could be pulled again if Canada remains a target. Beyond Ontario, Canada is eyeing LNG exports and Quebec's hydropower as further energy leverage. By spotlighting energy, Canada's message is clear. It's not just about tariffs, it's about literal power. Canada's readiness to wield this electric leverage underscores a shift in global negotiations. Energy is no longer just a commodity, it's a powerful bargaining chip. And while energy becomes a tool for leverage, Canada's broader pivot is reshaping its place in the world. Canada's global pivot, building resilience beyond the U.S. Canada's response isn't just reactive, it's a proactive and sweeping global pivot. Prime Minister Carney is driving a full-spectrum shift to reduce overdependence on the U.S., leveraging G7 and Indo-Pacific alliances to diversify trade and investment. Infrastructure is key. East and West Coast ports, inland terminals, highways, and rail lines are being upgraded through the 5 billion Canadian dollar Corridor Fund, opening pathways to Asia and Europe under CPTPP and CETA. Carney's team also struck a critical minerals deal with Japan, securing Canada's place in EV battery supply chains. Energy policy matches this pivot. Canada is balancing oil industry investments with green tech initiatives like carbon capture, supported by a grand bargain with energy leaders. Meanwhile, digital sovereignty grows stronger as Canada invests in homegrown cloud infrastructure and data protection, aligning with Europe's tech independence model. Military strength isn't overlooked either. Expanded Arctic bases and long-range radars reflect a broader strategy to reduce reliance on the U.S. Altogether, Canada is building resilience across every axis, ready to face the next global shock on its own terms. Which brings us to the big question: where does all of this lead? Verdict: Canada's bold maneuvers and the road ahead. What started as a trade spat over steel and aluminum has morphed into a broad-based rebalancing of Canada's economy and global posture. Ontario's electricity surcharge wasn't just retaliation, it was a shot across the bow, a message that Canada won't be a passive player. Prime Minister Carney's government isn't just reacting, it's remaking the playbook, investing in new infrastructure, fortifying digital and defense strategies, and forging international alliances that look far beyond the U.S. The verdict? Canada's no longer just taking the punches. It's on the offensive, rewriting the rules of the game to build a future on its own terms. As we wrap up this look at Canada's power moves, we want to hear from you. What do you think about Canada's energy diplomacy? Could electricity really be a deal breaker in trade disputes? How do you see Canada's global pivot reshaping the automotive and industrial supply chains we all rely on? And do you believe these power plays are enough to shield Canada's economy? Or is there still more to be done? Drop your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. We're always eager to hear how fellow enthusiasts and gearheads like you see the road ahead. Before we sign off, don't forget to subscribe to Piston Pundit, so you'll never miss out on the latest updates, trends, and under-the-hood insights. Thanks for sticking with us. Until next time, keep those pistons pumping. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's plenty more to explore.